The good news for those recruits is that the chances of dying during combat are now pretty small. Only 31 British troops were killed during service in Iraq. To give you some sort of contrast, 6 million men and women died during the First World War. Some buried here, many others lost at sea. On a morning in 1914, the nation was shocked when a single German submarine, known as a U-boat, sank 3 British warships in the North Sea. 1,400 people died. Now, a team of Yorkshire divers has discovered the wrecks at the centre of the disaster.
For almost 90 years, the North Sea has closely guarded one of its greatest secrets. 3 British armoured cruisers sunk within an hour by 1 German submarine. It was a disaster that could and should have been avoided. They're now just crumbling wrecks on the seabed, but these divers from Bradford are about to go and try and find them.
It'd be interesting just to see what condition they're in. I mean, we're looking at pictures all the time, just to see what's left of them, what position they're in. They're usually upside down, aren't they? The amount of weight that's on the top of them usually turn turtle as soon as they go down.
You must be expecting a bit of a ghostly quality down there, though.
It will be eerie going down. We don't expect to see any skeletons or anything like that, and obviously it's First World War, so it's nearly 100 years ago, so any sort of bodies on the outside will have gone. No doubt there is bodies on the inside, but we won't be penetrating into the wrecks. That's just a matter of respect, really.
When the First World War started, Britain felt confident about the power of its naval fleet. But behind the mighty dreadnoughts were the second string of ships, like the armoured cruisers HMS Cressy, Hogue and Aboukir. Once the pride of the fleet, by 1914 they were manned by reservists and young naval cadets.
These ships had been pretty good by the standards of 1902. They were at the cutting edge. The armoured cruiser was a new type, but it had been made completely obsolete by the revolution in long-range gunnery and the coming of the all-big-gun dreadnought battleships and invincible-type battle cruisers. They were proceeding quite slowly to conserve coal. These armoured cruisers with their 4 big funnels and lots of boilers were great coal guzzlers. And they were going extremely slowly in line abreast. This would seem to modernise to be almost manic, so close to Germany, where of course there were submarines based.
The world was about to find out just how dangerous submarines could be. Later there would be calls for U-boat crews to be hanged, but for the moment they were preparing for their place in history, led by the first U-boat ace, Otto von Weddigen.
I think Otto had a lot of luck in this case, because he arrived on a moment where the torpedo boats and destroyers, which had to go along with the 3 cruisers, were not there because of the weather, and they also were not zigzagging on that moment. So Otto did get an opportunity that he never had expected in his life.
So how did the British Navy come to lose 3 warships in less than an hour? Well, with some help from our friends at Peasholm Park in Scarborough, we're about to find out. The Aboukir, the Cressy and the Hogue were on patrol off the Dutch coast. Little did they know they were sitting ducks. German U-boat number 9 is out hunting and can't believe its luck. The Aboukir is the first to be hit, and everyone thinks she's hit a mine. The Hogue comes over to rescue survivors, and the U-boat seizes its chance, dispatching another 2 torpedoes. The Hogue explodes. There are already hundreds of men in the water. The Cressy comes over to give help and fires the first shot of retaliation. But it's already too late. U-9 now has the Cressy in its sights, and more torpedoes are dispatched. The Cressy sends out her last message, saying Aboukir's sunk, the Hogue is sinking, and so are we. The attack has lasted less than an hour, and 1,400 men and boys are dead or dying. This operation has been a year in the planning. Getting to see the wrecks won't be easy. They're 25 miles off the Dutch coast, lying upside down in 100 feet of water. And out here you can only imagine the isolation and despair the stricken sailors would have faced once they'd been attacked. So we're over the wreck now, are we?
Yeah, we're over the wreck, yeah. What he's going to do is approach the wreck, just run over it a couple of times to make sure it's in position, and then when he's right we're going to tell the other skipper to actually drop the shot line onto it. You'll actually see the wreck come up, and Josh will let us know when it actually marks onto the sounder here.
Because of the distance from shore, the divers are doing 2 dives a day on each wreck. They're going to be pushing their bodies to the limits in order to see as much of the wrecks as they can.
And if the visibility is good, we should be able to see quite a lot of the wrecks. And maybe get around them and recognise parts of the ship that we've seen on photographs and drawings.
Good luck, guys. Over the years, the North Sea has taken a heavy toll on the 3 British cruisers.
When you're down on the wreck, when everything's so quiet and all you're hearing is the bubbles around you, that's when you sort of reflect. And when you see the awesome size of a vessel, the size of what we're going to go on now, it brings it all home to you. I only saw a small section of it because it's such a big ship. Hopefully if we can get rocking on the second dive this afternoon, we'll get down to the stern section. We swam right through it, underneath it and inside it, right through where it's been blown. We hope to have a further exploration through that little bit.
Even in disaster, there were astonishing stories of survival. Kid Wycombe Musgrave was just 15. One of many naval cadets on board the cruisers, he was torpedoed 3 times and lived to tell his story in a remarkably cool way.
My dear Lolly, I've had the most exciting experience. I was in bed when the first torpedo struck. We took 20 minutes to sink.
He went overboard when the Abukir was going down, swam like mad to get away from the suction. He then was just literally getting on board the Hogue, and she was torpedoed and went down. And then he swam to the Cressy. She was also torpedoed. She took rather longer to go down, and she sank. And eventually he found a bit of driftwood, he was clinging to it, he became unconscious, and he was eventually picked up by a Dutch trawler.
When we dropped round to the shot line, we went sort of left and round. This is the engine room area around this sort of bit here, behind, underneath the funnels. You see these side guns here?
Yep.
These are the side guns that we actually saw sort of sticking out sort of from the wreck towards the seabed, because obviously that's pointing downwards. So what we're going to try and do is swim towards the stern, that's where the props will be, have a really good look round the back of the stern, see if we can see these back guns that are on the back of there. See the big gun at the bottom? Yep. Because maybe, because we do a swim through there, we might be able to actually see the gun on the bottom and see if the prop's there and work his way back, guys. Yeah? Yeah.
So you're about to go on your second dive?
We are, yeah.
Do you mind if I come with you?
Nope, sure.
Great. We'll have to get sorted out with some gear and stuff then.
Super.
Balance is my new weight. It's only underwater that you get to appreciate the scale of what happened here. The sinking of the Cressy, Hogue and Abukir changed naval warfare forever. It was a heavy price to pay for the harsh lesson that was learnt. U-boats were now recognised as being so dangerous that naval rules were changed because it was now too risky to go straight in and pick up survivors.